Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening. Good evening, Manan. Good evening, Ranjit. Good evening, Nilesh. There is still issue with YT notifications. Okay. Keep the charts clean. We'll start in 2 minutes. Good evening, Sumit. Sir, today only one trade still running. Great. Good evening, Tosif. एंट्री कहाँ पे लिया है 2990 वाला एंट्री लिया है Good entry, Manan. Good evening, Joseph. Move the MTSL at 29.95. ये सॉरी 30,000 पे रखो इसके नीचे. ये 150% कवर अप लेने वाला है अभी. ब्रेक होते ही 150% लेगा उसके लिए. Guys, one more minute. One more person needs to join. Good evening, Imran. How is your day? Sober? भाई साहब MTSL इधर रखो. सिस्टम ट्रेलिंग यहाँ पे रखो बोल रहा हूँ. ठीक है. Holding long from 2968. 2968. कितना बड़ा रिस्क लिया है जनाब. Execution is good, but the SL range of action is not. Right? So Imran, your actual action plan should have been at 2970, right? But you executed in this candle allocation, great, right? So you looked for a wing setup. Wing setup वहाँ पे generate हुआ नहीं. Going forward, make sure that your risk is minimal, Imran. You have got the holding power. I'm happy for you, but this execution was not the right execution. समझ गया रिवर्सल allocation में लिए थे, but SL range देखो ना. 100 pips का SL है. I do understand the movement is more than always 300 pips, but 100 pips is not in our rule book. So follow the rules. Okay. So आज थोड़ा स्लो स्लो समझाना. तू स्लो मोड में देखना. मैं स्लो मोड में समझाने वाला तो नहीं हूँ. Got it. So where we can see that execution, right? In this perspective, Imran, your execution with the wing reversal allocation, right? If there was a wing allocation, definitely this and this candle could have been in perspective of the wick generation, right? The 3 week generation could have been shown here. But do we see a 3 week generation? No. When there is no 3 week generation, let the retailers sit in fib levels. So, example perspective, in this circumstances, the fib level allocation is over here, right? With that, let everyone sit towards the short side. right? जैसे ही everyone is sat towards the sort, the next S2B1 setup will be your execution point. In this scenario, your execution could have been at this point of action, right? With this point of action, what is the risk to reward that you're having? The risk is of 4 pips, sorry, 40 pips, 4 points ka, and execution perspective, which is still going on, is with 560 pips. This is the plan of action you should be having. Okay. एंड तुमने वो जो प्रॉप फॉर्म अकाउंट है तुम्हारा उसमें एक छोटा सा एसएल दिया मार्केट को. फिर उसी रिवर्सल पे लिया था. मैं इमरान की बात कर रहा हूँ, मनन करके नहीं बोला मैंने. आफ्टर बिग रेड कैंडल इन. ओके, यहाँ पे एग्जीक्यूट किए हो. हाँ, देन दिस इज नॉट एन इशू. दिस इज अ गुड वन. आई थॉट यू एग्जीक्यूटेड ओवर हियर. But even this is not a right execution. No? You had it to wait to close. There should be a setup. So setup was in this green candle, no? Because this second candle is started with 69. Your execution is at 68. So you have entered in this candle only, which is not right. Yes, 40 points का SL दिया. 40 points का SL दिया. 40 pips का हो गया, 40 points का. ग्रेट. तो प्रॉप फॉर्म वाले समझेंगे कि ओके ये भी एसएल देता है. Great guys, you guys are late today, yaar. Come on. So starting from daily time frame, the demand allocation. With the demand allocation, there is a break. With the break, continuity, reallocation. With the reallocation, 150% rejection. With the 150% rejection, market में जितना मेरा previous inducement range of action है, उतने का ही retracement panel of action generate होते हुए दिखती है. Right? With that generation, what is the next step? We will mark the allocation of 150%. Once the 150% allocation is marked, we will allocate the supply. With the supply allocation, there is a retracement. Right, from a bearish to bullish movement retracement, what is the plan of action that will be taken under the consideration? Your previous supply will act as your current demand scenario. In this, this retracement will act as the current. Post that reallocation of the movement of the previous supply. With the previous supply, there is a break. With the break, continuity. With the continuity, we notice that there is a structural break. With the structural break, 150% rejection. With the 150% rejection, जो मेरा previous demand allocation point है, that will act as my current. So with the current allocation, what do we notice over here? The movement had taken with an S2B1 setup. With the S2B1, my previous allocation of the supply will be acting as the current. With the current plan of actions, what are the next steps which will be taken under the considerations? At this point, remarking allocations of mathematical numbers will be in the place. With this point, what are the next steps that we'll be following? We'll be following a rule of previous. A rule of previous will be taken with a point of action of point 1, the demand, which will act as my current. With the current, 200% rejection. With the 200% rejection, market gave a breakthrough. So my previous point of action will act as the current. When the previous demand action point acts as my current, what is the first action plan which will be taken under the consideration? The first consideration point of interest will be of 150% with 150% next, right? In this scenario of action point, what do we see? We see an exact 150% rejection and a green candle closure. When there is a green candle closure, what are the next movement plans which will be acted as? Will come down to 4 hours. In 4 hours, what are the major circumstantial scenarios that will be taken under the point of interest? The previous demand plan allocation. In this scenario, this is my previous demand with the previous demand continuity. With the continuity action plan, there is a breakthrough. With the breakthrough, 150% regeneration. When there is a 150% regenerational activity, which you can notice over here, what did market tend to do? Market tend to give a break and continuity. In that break and continuity, the previous act of plan will be your current scenario. With the current scenario plan of actions, what do you see? There is an exact break. With the break S to B1 setup, with the S to B1 setup, rally continued. आपका mathematical number का place of action will be swing high, swing low, retracement, exact rejection from the point of interest. When there is an exact point of interest rejection, what are the next steps that we'll be looking? We will be coming down to 1 hour. In 1 hour perspectives, what are the three major things that will be taken under the consideration? We have a break of structure, and this is a current circulating supply. With the current circulating supply, we will be marking the entire supply zone with the wick because we have a break of structure. With that break of structure, a minimality zone was created with the minimality zone of action plan 150%. Right? So with 150% plan of actions, what are the next steps which will be taken under the consideration? Scenario 1 is done. Scenario 2 will be as per the previous supply point. With the previous supply point, the current point of action is taken under the consideration. With the current point, the market is taking the rejection. Right? So what are the demand allocations which will act at the current stage? The demand allocation will be as per the previous inducement range at the current state of actions. The inducement range zone of action will be into the act of the range 1, then the continuity of the previous. So with this plan of action, we have a big zone of grab. The big zone of grab will be multiplied into 150 and 200%. With 150 and 200%, what is the mathematical calculations that you will be working at the current stage? Swing low, swing high, retracement point. With that point of action, what is the next 15 minutes plan of allocation that will be taken under the consideration? The swing low will be at this point. I will mark for you guys. This will be a swing low, this will be a swing high, this will be a retracement point. Right? Market is exactly taking rejection from 200%, which is intermediate ratio, right? So with the intermediate ratio plan of actions, what are the movements that you can look at the current stage? The first movement plan of action was into the previous action plan के साथ market make retracement कौन सा होगा at the state? The previous supply will act as my current because single candle rejection है उसके साथ जो मेरा previous supply था that will act as the current point of interest. With that, market has taken the rejection. What will be the first point of interest that you will be taking under the consideration? The movement of the previous. When there is a movement of the previous, what is the first thing that you will be working? You will be working for the break. With the break, continuity. Right? So this is the plan of action which we will be following in the circumstantial move of gold. कोई doubt है? मैंने इससे slow मेरे को पूछो मत तो. Anyone has any doubts? हाँ, डेफिनेटली मैं प्रीवियस एलोकेशन पॉइंट सब बात नहीं किया हुआ यहाँ पे क्योंकि आई जस्ट वांट टू कीप इट स्वीट एंड सिंपल एट द करंट स्टेज. कंफ्यूज नहीं करना चाहता. ओके. No doubts. Okay, great. So with this, we'll start with BTC. BTC is in a beautiful plan of action today. क्या मजेदार मोमेंट है. सिर्फ ये नोटिस करना उतना है. Sir, why didn't we take the swing of 2976.225? Which swing? 29. 29 retracement of 2963. 2963 retracement is completed now. This is a POI range. Sorry, inducement range, not the POI range. Okay. If you take into this circumstantial, your target is here only, no? We are swing traders, always for the next, not prior to that. This is only after break rejection, okay? Swing liquidation. Sir, my MTSL should be this red candle wick and TSL at, yes, that's right. The previous wick, yeah. So with the POI range of action, market में यहाँ पे एक break through मिला था. With the breakthrough, inducement range के साथ allocate करेंगे. With the inducement allocation, we had seen a buying point. With the buying point, what is the next step we'll be looking? Internal liquidity point of action. In this scenario, मेरा internal liquidity point of action यहाँ पे था. उसके साथ market ने एक movement generate की थी. The movement plan of action will be from the previous. Wick क्यों ले रहे हैं यहाँ पे? Because there is a break of structure, so we will consider the wick as well. With that, S2B1 setup के साथ reallocation, S2B1 reallocation के साथ body closure उसी के अंदर है. So previous supply will be taken under the consideration on the marking. With the previous supply, what is the retracement that you will notice over here? The retracement will be of your previous. जो मेरा supply यहाँ पे generate होते हुए दिखी है, that will act as my current point of interest. With the current point of interest, market tend to break and continue. With the break and continue, my target point of interest is also completed. With that, what are the next steps that we'll be following? We'll be looking for a reallocation. जब reallocation point देखते हो, what are the major things that you will keep in mind? You will keep in mind the previous allocation of the inducement. So in this point of action, this will be my demand zone, which will act at the current. With the current point of interest, there is a break and continue. With the break and continue, 150%. With the 150% action plan, what do we notice over here? There was a rejection which was taken under the consideration. The rejection will be acted through the previous. In this previous moment plan will be taken under this consideration. Is it right? ये supply लेंगे हम. No, demand converted into supply. Great. So in this plan of action, our major retracement point of action will be of the previous, in the previous allocation, the current. So the current structural plan of allocation will be at this point of action with that continuity, with the continuity closure. With the closure and the continuity, what are the next steps that we'll be looking under the point? From the point of action, one of the demand range will act at the current scenario with the current scenario movement generation. So this is the point of movement. With the point of movement, second allocation point will be taken under the consideration. With the second, what is the next step we'll be looking for? We'll be looking for 150% breakthrough. At this scenario, we are having a 150% breakthrough. Yes, we do. So what are the next steps we'll be having in the point of interest? The next steps will be taken under the consideration of the previous. So previous allocation will act at my point of interest one. There is a break in continuity, so 150% markout. So once there is a 150% markout, what are the next steps that I'll be following? I'll come down to 4 hours. 150% मार्कआउट कैलिब्रेट तभी होगा जब ये क्लोज होगा ओके 100% के ऊपर इन ए डेली टाइम फ्रेम. Let's come down to 4 hours. What are the major criteria which will be taken under the consideration? There is no break of structure at this point of interest. So what I'll be doing, only the body will be taken under the consideration with the body reallocation. Once the body allocation is done, what are the next steps which will be a part of the game? You will be looking for the previous allocations. In this previous allocation point, this will act as my current demand. With the current demand, the movement will be acted through the retracement point. In the scenario of retracement, the previous supply will act as my current. So with this point, we will mark out the supply range. With the supply range, we have an inducement zone of creation. With the inducement zone of creation, continuity. All right. With the continuity structure one, there is a break. Once there is a break, 150% rejection will be a second plan of action. जैसे 150% का rejection plan out हुआ, what are the major criteria of allocation will be there? Swing high, swing low, and retracement. With that, the market took rejection exactly from the golden ratio. Golden ratio के साथ, the next plan will be of 1 hour. In 1 hour, circumstantial movements of yesterday and today, what are the major things that will be followed through? The major things will be followed through with the previous demand allocation, with the previous demand allocation, the current. With the current demand allocations, what are the next steps that will be taken and followed through? In the movement plan of actions, the movement will be taken in the surplus of the swing low. ये आपका swing low होगा, ये आपका swing high, ये आपका retracement point, the red candle low. Because the wick creation which you're noticing, you can't take this because this is into the prior movement of action plan. When that is into the prior of the action plan, what are the next steps of allocation which will be taken under the consideration before marking? Before marking, the exact previous allocation will be in the act of the point supply point के साथ retracement. रिट्रेसमेंट कितना लिया मार्केट में, जितना मेरा प्रीवियस एक्शन प्लान था उतने का ही रिट्रेसमेंट लेते हुए दिखिए, उसके साथ कंटिन्यूटी. In the continuity, what are the major criteria that will be taken at? Break of structure. With the break of structure, 150% rejection. Right? 150% say 200%. Next plan will be the action layout. When there is an action layout, what are the major criteria that you'll be taking at? The previous demand will act as the current. In this, there is a breakthrough. We don't have a break of structure, so 200% rejection. With the 200% rejection, what are the limitations that will be working at the current stage? The limitation workouts will be as per the previous. So in this zone of action, the major allocation will be through your previous point of interest with the previous point of interest to the current. So this will be the point of interest 1 with the point of interest 1 reallocation. With the reallocation, minimality is generated. With the minimality, 150% rejection. with the 150% rejection, what is the next plan of action which will be taken under the consideration? A breakthrough and continuity, which we'll look in 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, why is this movement generating in perspective of the previous? Because this was exactly our 200% rejection, and the continuity with that we have a circulating supply. With the circulating supply, market tend to move in the directions of the market. So इस point of action में 15 minutes का supply allocation लेके चलेंगे. So this is my first supply point of action. With that retracement कितना होगा? जितना मेरा previous action plan generate होते हुए दिखिए यहाँ पे supply that will act as my demand range with the demand range continuity. With the continuity, we have a rejection perspective. In the rejection perspective, my first point of action will be through the previous with the previous action point. The allocation will be taken under the consideration with the wick range because we have a structure break with the structure break. Continuity 200% closure. With the 200% closure, there was a small range which was given a break width. The break width range will be taken under the consideration to the previous demand. With the previous demand, 100% closure. With the 100% closure, the market tend to continue the movement. In the market continuation, what are the steps of action which will be taken under to the previous with the wick action plan? Because we do see that there is a break of structure, so wick will be taken under the consideration with the wick consideration, the movement, right? With the movement breakthrough, what are the major steps that will be followed here? Right, with the breakthrough 150% rejection, with the 150% rejection continuity. In the continuity perspective, the previous action plan of demand takes under the position of first. With the first position action plan, there is a rejection. With the rejection plan, what are the next steps that will be intact and in work? Will be the continuity zone of action. The continuity zone of action will be into the previous of the next. With the point of interest of the demand zone, we have a rejection. With the rejection, we have a minimality created. With the minimality, first point of interest, 150% zone of action was taken under the consideration. Right, with this point of interest, we do still have a rejection perspective, which was marked with the previous action point. Right, with the both the action point of interest, what did market tend to do? Market created a structure. With the structural break, what are the major criteria which will be taken under the previous point? With the previous point of action, the major closure will be through the next point of the inducement. In this point of interest, the zone of action will be your first range, which will be in perpendicular to the inducement point. With the inducement point of action, allocation. With the allocation, the breakthrough. With the breakthrough allocation point, this will be my first range of action. We have a minimality. With the minimality zone, what did market tend to do? Market created a break, 200% closure. With the 200% closure, what are the next steps of action which will be taken under the part? From the body to wick, as per the previous supply. No wicks because we still don't have a break of structure. जैसे ही break of structure आएगा, we will look for the next part of action. Okay, so this is the current scenario of BTC in today's plan. Any doubts in BTC, guys? Good job. फर्स्ट टाइम मनन ने एमटीएस से ब्रेक होके क्लोज होने पे एग्जिट किया है. अच्छा लगा सुन के कि बंदे ने एग्जिट किया। All the new members, जो भी डाउट्स है पूछो। ओल्ड मेंबर्स स्टार्ट द बैक टेस्टिंग विद द बैक टेस्टिंग, फॉरवर्ड टेस्टिंग ऑफ रिले bars with the forward testing of relay bars, live analysis with the live analysis come with a small value to execute the trades to understand and build the confidence. Then with the real value following the right risk to reward. सर इस टाइम जल्दी नहीं है ना, आराम से बनाऊंगा। बनाइए बनाइए। एंड कंग्रेचुलेशंस मैन, फर्स्ट 300 पिप्स कैप्चर के लिए। What is the difference between POI and inducement? Inducement are partners. POI is a range of action where you will see one time act of a support and resistance touch. Post that, market will be in zone of the support and resistance and trap all the retailers. That is POI. My lot size was small in this one, 0.15. Usually I was taking zero point 0.5 lot. कोई बात नहीं है। Okay जैसे, सो एक बॉक्स ऑफ एक्शन डालो। उस बॉक्स ऑफ एक्शन में जब तक मार्केट रेजिस्टेंस सपोर्ट करता है, दिस इज कंसोलिडेशन। ओके, जब मार्केट सपोर्ट से रेजिस्टेंस जाता है, रेजिस्टेंस से सपोर्ट आने की कोशिश करती है, होती नहीं है, इसी जोन ऑफ एक्शन में जब खेलता रहता है ना, इसे कहते हैं पीओआई। इन दिस पीओआई रेंज फर्स्ट हंट होता है दोनों तरफ, उसके बाद लिक्विडिटी डाइल्यूशन क्रिएट होती है, उसके साथ मूवमेंट एक्शन प्लान बिल्ड होता है। एंड फियर्ड बाय एसएल। गुड। 150 to 600, गुड जॉब। फाइनली बंदे ने डेमो स्टेज क्लियर कर लिया, स्टेज 1। ग्रेट जॉब। ओ माय गॉड, नाइस। कितने मेहनतों के बाद, कितने डिप्रेशन जोन्स के बाद क्लियर किया। नहीं सर, अभी तक क्लियर नहीं हुआ है। ओके, क्लियर नहीं किया, समझ गया। स्टेज 1 इज एट 1500। ओके। But will create some. I like the confidence. Okay, sir. So from 11 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. yesterday, it was in the POI range. Mm-hmm. 11 Indian timing, right? 5:30. 11 to 4:30. POI range यहाँ पे थी. फर्स्ट बायर्स को ट्रैप किया. बायर्स को ट्रैप करने के बाद सेलर्स को ट्रैप किया. विद द सेलर्स ट्रैप अलोकेशन मूवमेंट स्ट्रक्चर ब्रेक की. मूवमेंट स्ट्रक्चर ब्रेक करने के बाद कंटिन्यूटी. इन रिटेलर्स पर्सपेक्टिव, हमारे पर्सपेक्टिव में right allocation points further into the previous actions. First, demand allocation, minimality zone created with the minimality zone 150%. First scenario will be taken under the consideration. Second scenario, third scenario with the continuity. Continuity point of interest, 150% rejection again. With that point of movement, what is the next step which will be taken under the calibration point? The calibration point will be through the previous. Okay. सो मिनिमलिटी जोन के साथ भी अगर मैं डबल करता हूँ 150% रिजेक्शन दिखने को मिलेगी. राइट. 150% एंड 200%. पॉइंट ऑफ एक्शन वन, 150% का रिजेक्शन, 200% एंड 150%. ओके. इफ यू नोटिस इसका 150% रेंज ये है एंड इसका मिनिमलिटी का 200% जोन. 150 से भी एक छोटा सा रिजेक्शन दिखने को मिला. Gold 15 minutes when yesterday last down move was given, it completed first MC2 and then we moved the swing. And again MC2 target was hit at 2960 and it made S2B1 formation and reversed. Yes, that's right. And in today's up move also, it first completed the first swing target and then completed the second swing target. Here, what formation to look for the reversal and how yesterday moved different from current. In this current scenario perspective, the target was hit. With the target continuation, there was no reversal indication, right? But over here, we had a reversal indication, correct? With this reversal indication, this point of interest will not act as S2B1 setup over here because at this point of range, what did market tend to do? We don't have a SL range of 20 to 40 pips. When there is no 20 to 40 pips, what does the market tend to create? Market tend to create a liquidity calibration. Liquidity calibration जब generate होता है, You see a fib level execution. With the fib level execution लोगों को ट्रैप करता है, उसी ट्रैप के साथ कंटिन्यूटी में मूवमेंट जाती है. Okay, so in this perspective execution will be always post the fib level retailer's hand. $200  pips add on running. Okay, so this gold following वो wick and उसका बाद बड़ा red candle, then with the continuity towards short. Okay, sir, got it. And now going up to trap, I guess. ये तुम्हारा guessing बंद करो. Don't guess, execute. वही guessing यार. मार्केट क्लियर इंडिकेशन दे रहा है, उसके साथ गेसिंग क्यों करते हो? बाइंग प्रेशर जनरेट हुई है, कैंडल उसके बाजू में नीचे में क्लोज नहीं किया है. इस पॉइंट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट के साथ आप नीचे के लिए फिर से क्यों देख रहे हो? रिवर्सल तभी अलोकेट होगा जब हमको ऊपर से एक अच्छा खासा विक प्रेशर दिखने को मिलेगी. Definitely, I understand there is a circulating supply over here, but circulating supply will be taken under the consideration once a pressure of wick is generated, ना. अगर विक का प्रेशर जनरेट ही नहीं हुआ है तो आप एग्जीक्यूट क्या करोगे? अलोकेशन पॉइंट प्रीवियस का लेना. गेस किया तो मार्केट क्या कर देगा ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन में? Guys, calm down. There are ladies also in the street. Okay. बीटीसी में सबका एमटीएस रेड कैंडल के नीचे रखे रख लो. TP1 हिट हो चुकी है. On the setup S2B1. Good evening, Patel. How is your back testing going on? How is your forward testing going on? $150 pips running in gold. Great. Imran, how is your add-ons going on? I'm doing back testing in BTC. Great. आपका add-on कैसे चल रहा है इमरान? कोई भी डाउट है पूछना पटेल. Running with 200. Okay. Great. अच्छा लगा सुन के. People are learning and executing. Good, good. First order 520 pips. Okay, that I get it. Second order 200 pips. Right. Why didn't you execute this trade? S2 B2 के साथ. Saw setup there. Okay. Sir, exact entry points बताना एक बार in which candles you entered in all the scenarios. Long के तरफ मेरा first execution point is at 296 sorry 2970. एक सेकंड रुको मैं चेक करके बताता हूँ. 2970 पे एंट्री है. उसके बाद 2981 पे एंट्री है. उसके बाद 2991.3 पे एंट्री है. उसके बाद रीअलोकेशन स्ट्रक्चर में एक एंट्री लिया था. कहा गया? स्क्रॉल करो और शायद एक बार. यस. 3001.2 पे एक एंट्री है. उसके साथ मोमेंट अलोकेशन के साथ 3004 में एक एंट्री है. 4 एग्जीक्यूशन पॉइंट्स में एंट्री एग्जीक्यूट हुआ था. First trade of execution in this candle, second trade of execution in this candle, third trade of execution was in B2 S2 B2 setup. अगर हंस है तो हंस को मैं सुबह ही बोला था लाइव स्ट्रीम पे. With this, the next add-on was over here. उसके बाद next add-on was over here. At the current scenario, एक छोटा add-on over here. So this was in S2 B1, S2 B1, S2 B2, S2 B1, S2 B1. This is with buying pressure. क्योंकि everyone will be looking towards the short over here, उस perspective में long. And candle close पर लिया है या फिर in between of the candles. At the start of the candles, जब भी rejection लेके continuity में जाता है, every point of interest with the continuity execution. लास्ट वाला एड ऑन नहीं लिया, सेटअप नहीं पकड़ा. हाँ, दैट्स टोटली फाइन इमरान. मैं आप लोगों को बोला ही नहीं था वहां पे लेने के लिए, ना वहां पे सेटअप था. So that's totally fine. If you didn't add on over there, that works for you. बाइंग प्रेशर कैसे दिखा? ये फिर से क्यों आ गया? अगर नोटिस करोगे, ये वाला विक रिजेक्शन के साथ विक क्रिएट होते हुए दिखी थी. हेंस एक छोटा सा ऐड ऑन किया था. लास्ट एड ऑन 150 पिप्स में मेरा टीएसएल है, सिस्टम ट्रेलिंग, इस पॉइंट ऑफ एक्शन का. And इसका MTSL will also be at 150 pips. Remaining all point of interest, system trailing is over here. Okay. लास्ट आउट ऑन का एग्जैक्ट प्राइस फिर से कितना सिस्टम चेक कराते हो? एक सेकेंड रुको, बता दो. Also, how you look towards the SL thing, as if I wait for the candle close to continuity, SL could be too big. लास्ट ट्रेड का एग्जीक्यूशन पॉइंट आके 3004 पे थी. इसमें भी क्लियर सेटअप था, राइट. फर्स्ट आज का दिन का ट्रेड ऑफ एग्जीक्यूशन वाज शॉर्ट 1500 पॉइंट्स एग्जैक्ट क्लोजर. S2 B2 के साथ लॉन्ग हुआ है, दैट पिच इज स्टिल रनिंग. ये मोमेंट नहीं कैप्चर हुआ था क्योंकि आई डिडंट फॉलो थ्रू. If circulating supply is created and we mark the MC2 targets, but before reaching MC2 targets, the demand allocation gets completed in reverse. Then who gets more importance, demand allocation, completion, or MC2 targets? Depends how far is your demand allocation. With the demand allocation, how far is your MC? It depends on that. The importance will always be given to mathematical numbers. This supply and demand is the correspondence for looking to add on in the quantities. That's it. Add on देखने के लिए हम ये supply and demand allocate करते हैं. यो, उड़ा दिया मेरा. अभी जाएगा देखो ऊपर. क्या बोल रहे हो आप? उड़ा दिया मेरा, अभी जाएगा ऊपर. इट्स कोई बात नहीं है, 150 pips take home में है ना. You should be happy. Good evening, brother. गैप फिल कर रहा हूँ. सॉरी सर, थोड़ा लेट हो गया. चलेगा चलेगा. रिवाइंड करके देख लेना. भाई वॉलेटिलिटी कम क्यों करना है तेरे को? दिन का 500 पिप्स, 50 पिप्स मीन्स 50x का मूवमेंट मिल रहा है और तुम्हें कम करना है इसे। अबे कम होगा नेक्स्ट मंथ ही, उससे पहले नहीं होगा। रहने दे भाई, चलने दो ऐसे। इट्स हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट। चलेगा, तू ट्रेड एग्जीक्यूट मत कर, मेरे को प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। तू ट्रेड एग्जीक्यूशन कम कर, दैट्स नॉट एन इशू। बट मेजर सोर्स ऑफ एक्शन शुड बी द मूवमेंट एक्शन प्लान। वॉलेटिलिटी रहने दो, एक साल में 6 महीना वॉलेटिलिटी रहेगा, दैट्स व्हेन द कैपिटल एंड वेल्थ ग्रोस, राइट? So 6 months volatility should be there in the market always. 150 pips तो रेंज ऑफ एक्शन ही है, वो अलग सिनेरियो है। सर एक क्वेश्चन था, कभी कभी इंगेजमेंट पार्टनर 3 ग्रीन कैंडल्स होता है और उसके साथ 1 ग्रुप होता है, तो इसमें कैसे करें? इस पॉइंट ऑफ एक्शंस में हमेशा ग्रुप इंड्यूसमेंट सेलेक्ट करो। ओके। 3016 शॉट। वर्षा, इसका आज का मेरे को ट्रेडिंग हिस्ट्री दिखाओ थोड़ा। वरुण का ट्रेडिंग हिस्ट्री शेयर करो मेरे को आज का। ऑल द न्यू मेंबर्स, वेलकम टू द स्ट्रीम। जो भी डाउट है पूछो। व्हाई आर यू लाफिंग, वेंकट? मनन, उसके ट्रैप में मत आओ तुम तुम्हारे हिसाब से ट्रेड करो। ओके। Why was that at first place? Sir, just asking the reason because मुझे सिनेरियो में confusion है. Okay, then well and good. पूछ लो, मेरे को प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. अगर वो ट्रेड एग्जीक्यूट कर रहा है करके तुम एग्जीक्यूट किए ना, देख लो बाद में. Excuse me, guys. All the old members do the back testing with back testing, forward testing with forward testing, live testing. नहीं कर रहा. ठीक है. कुछ तो हुआ है आपको. बड़ा गुस्सा कर रहे हो. आराम से करूंगा. ठीक है. मैं गुस्सा कर रहा हूँ ना, मेरे को कुछ हुआ है. मैं बहुत काम हूँ. I want to be in the situation I was in last 2 weeks. Hmm. I don't want to be in the situation I was in 2 weeks. Okay, cool. Sir, I will wait till your last live class, thinking you will teach me in my simple language on that last live class. Sir, S to B1 क्या होता है? एक सेटअप होता है. नहीं नहीं वर्षा, सिर्फ आज का तो यार. सिर्फ आज का मेरे को डाउट हो रहा है. मेरे को देखना ही है क्या कर रहा है, क्या है. कल का सब प्रॉब्लम नहीं है इसका, आज का दे. ग्रीन कैंडल विक, रेड कैंडल विक, सेकेंड रेड एग्जीक्यूशन. आरबी ब्रो, कैन आई आस्क यू समथिंग? यस जिमी. जिमी. सर बीटीसी में शॉर्ट किया है क्या? नहीं किया यार, मिस हो गया। ये वाला ना नहीं किया हूँ। टॉगल करते करते वो देखा ही नहीं। हाँ लॉन्ग में हूँ S2 B2 के साथ। MTSL is at 97,250. Hey you're late today. भाई मैं शॉर्ट का रीजन लिया ही नहीं, शॉर्ट लिया ही नहीं हूँ तो रीजन क्यों दूँ? सर आपने कहा यू मिस्ड, मतलब इट वाज अ ट्रेड। ये सेटअप ही नहीं बनता है तो कैसे एग्जीक्यूट करोगे यार? मेरे को वो समझाओ आप लोग। There should always be a setup to execution. Not every setup is a execution setup. You guys have to understand that. अगर मैं यहाँ पे execute करता, I could have executed it with a pressure. Selling pressure के हिसाब से execute करता. Okay? So मनन एक चीज follow करो तुम. S2 B1 setup बनता है. S2 B2 setup बनता है. या S1 setups create होती है. S1 में 3 setup. B1, B2, B3 सेटअप क्रिएट होती है. तभी ही तुम ट्रेड एग्जीक्यूट करना, उससे पहले नहीं. ओके? तू कोई कोई और चीज देखो ही मत. आज क्लियर करके जाऊंगा. क्लियर तो तू 4 महीने से करवा रहा है. ओके? तो यू फॉलो ओनली दैट सेटअप्स मना. टाइम पास कर रहा. नो वे ही is in stream for 4 months. No, Imran, Manan is a MNP member. He doesn't have control on his risk management. Execution सही करता है, risk management follow नहीं करता. Manan, with you, chat got interesting. भाई बट इरिटेट भी वैसे ही करता है इमरान, तो थोड़ा सतर्क हो जाना. There is one more person with him called as Aviral. तबाही मचाते ये दो. मैं आज इरिटेटेड नहीं हूँ क्योंकि आज तू रिलेवेंट क्वेश्चंस पूछ रहा है, राइट? बट समटाइम्स यू अनॉय, इतना अनॉय करता है ना. स्मिता मैम, ट्रेलिंग करके चलो. Like 40 years. No, that annoyment I can handle. But kid play annoyment can't be handled. By literally, Varun, you closed the trade at 60 pips. Huh? मैं एसएल देने बोला था तुम्हें. I didn't give एसएल. Wanted to continue the green streak. Okay. Can we consider current three candles as down pressure in gold for SL hunt? यहाँ पे एग्जीक्यूट कहाँ पे करोगे, यहाँ पे एसएल कहाँ पे रखोगे? एसएल इज ऑफ 130 पिप्स. आपका एग्जीक्यूशन इस कैंडल में हो जाना चाहिए. नहीं हुआ है तो वेट करो. यहाँ पे फिर से हंट होगा, प्रेशर जनरेट होते हुए दिखेगी. देन हर एक जगह पे विंग सेटअप क्रिएट नहीं होता है, याद रख लेना. ठीक है. वांटेड टू कंटिन्यू द ग्रीन स्ट्रीक. टुडेस रिकॉर्ड इज बैड ऑफ योर्स मैन, वेरी बैड. वरुण, ये क्या है? 100 पिप क्लोजर, 90 पिप क्लोजर, सब फोन में एग्जीक्यूट किया है. ओके. 4 ट्रेड रनिंग, ग्रेट. बट ये 90 पिप्स का, 60 पिप्स का सब प्लीज अवॉइड करो गोइंग फॉरवर्ड. won't repeat it again. Okay. तो सिर्फ बोलता है आई वोंट रिपीट करके, बट रिपीट करता है. Once in a blue moon, repetition is good, not every day. Huh? So today we should wait for the green candle to go up. So today we should wait for, क्या लिखा है? So today we should wait for green candle to go up and then for the big downward to enter the trade in the gold for short side. नहीं भाई, सेटअप क्रिएट होने दो करके बोल रहा हूँ मैं. Let the market create the setup. It seems you took. It seems you took every setup. Yes, I did. Was trading from the phone till the late afternoon. वही तो गलती करता है. Okay, वेंकट, don't hurry up. Weak pressure create करेगा करके सब. शांति. तो सिर्फ बैक टेस्टिंग कैसे चल रहा है, फॉरवर्ड टेस्टिंग कैसे चल रही है? सर एग्जैक्टली 15 मिनट्स आप बहुत सारे सप्लाई एंड डिमांड लेते हो. प्लीज एक्सप्लेन दैट पार्ट. बहुत सारे सप्लाई एंड डिमांड कहाँ पे लिया हूँ मैं? ओके, आपको ये कंफ्यूज हो रहा है. आई विल मेक इट क्लियर फॉर यू. ये मेरा कंप्लीशन ऑफ द ट्रेड में था. आई विल रीअलोक इट, आई डोंट हैव एनी प्रॉब्लम्स. अगर इतना कंफ्यूजन है, आई विल शोकेस यू गाइस. राइट, सो प्लान ऑफ एक्शन कैसे कंसिडर करते हैं? So first plan of action will be taken under the consideration of the previous. With the previous action plan, I will restructure and allocate. Once I restructure and allocate, I have a minimality zone created. Minimality zone जब create होता है, मैं 150% का target range देख के चलता हूँ. Right, यहाँ पे 150% as well as 200% coverage मिला है, so I will mark out that range. Right, post marking out my 200% range of action, what is the next step that I'll be following? I'll be looking for a range point allocation. Range point allocation will be taken under the consideration of the previous supply. In this zone of action, ये मेरा previous supply है. यहाँ पे retrace कितना हुआ था, जो कि मेरा previous retracement point of action है. The previous retracement point of action जो है, उस zone of action को considerably we will mark it out over here. उसके साथ रिजेक्शन कंटिन्यूटी, जब कंटिन्यूटी में रिजेक्शन आया, व्हाट इज द नेक्स्ट स्टेप? जो मेरा प्रीवियस डिमांड एक्शन प्लान है, दैट विल एक्ट एज माय करंट. With the current retracement plan of action, my previous allocation will be taken under the consideration. With the consideration, there is break and continue. When there is break and continue, 150% target point. 150% target point allocate होने के बाद we waited for a retracement action. The retracement action कितना होगा? जो कि मेरा यहाँ पे previous action range जो है, that will act as my retracement. With this retracement, market gave a continuity, 150% rejection again. With the 150% rejection point of spot on, we had a S2 B2 setup in the morning. राइट अगर डाउट है तो रिवाइंड करके देख लेना मॉर्निंग सेशन. विद दैट प्लान ऑफ एक्शन, फर्स्ट एग्जीक्यूशन कितना होगा? जितना मेरा प्रीवियस पॉइंट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट में होगा उतने का. In this scenario, this is my inducement range of action. The inducement range of action will act as my current. With the current movement plan, what do we see? We see a 200% rejection. With the 200% rejection, what did market tend to do? Market tend to create a breakthrough. Breakthrough कहाँ से लेंगे? Inducement range of action से allocate करेंगे. Post allocation of inducement range, what is the next steps? The previous allocation will be taken from the wick, क्योंकि मार्केट में ब्रेक ऑफ स्ट्रक्चर है. जैसे ही ब्रेक ऑफ स्ट्रक्चर जनरेट होता है, व्हाट आर द नेक्स्ट स्टेप्स व्हिच विल बी टेकन अंडर द कंसिडरेशन? द अलोकेशन विल बी थ्रू द प्रीवियस. With the previous point of interest, we had a rejection of 100%. With the rejection of 100%, what did market tend to do? Market tend to create a bearish movement. In these circumstances, we had executed that trade with S2B1 setup. Why? Wick closure, second, third candle execution. Right, with that execution perspective, what are the major concerns that will be taken under the previous? First action point will be your demand range of action, which will act, because us point of action mein you don't know what is the length of the movement, correct? So this will be your first point of interest which will be acting at. So we have a 200% rejection. With the 200% rejection, the first movement completion. With the first movement completion, the completion of the second. Right, जैसे ही 100% coverability मिलती है, what are the next steps that I'll be following? The next step I'll be looking for a retracement. So retracement जो मेरा bullish movement में कौन सा होता है? Supply. So at this current state of actions, जो demand में जो है retracement point, जो bearish movement में demand converted into supply होगा. In this scenario, this was my retracement point of action. Right, with that continuity and breakthrough, with the continuity and breakthrough, what is the first plan of action which will be taken under the consideration? The previous. In this previous act, what is the allocation that will be looked at? The first 100%, there was a break in the same candle and the continuity. With the continuity closure, right, we had a closure point of interest, we will mark out that range. With the mark out of range, what are the next steps which will be taken under the considerations post this? Right, post this allocation point, what are the next steps? The next step will be taking entire supply movement. With the entire supply movement, what are the reallocation points that will be in the consideration? The consideration movement will be as per the previous. With the previous action point, what are the major constraints that we are having? We are having a 100% rejection. Right, with the 100% rejection, what did market tend to do? Market tend to grieve a break. How will the break will be taken under the consideration? Through the previous demand zone of action. जैसे ही previous demand zone of action allocate करेंगे, what do you see? We see a closure in the same zone. With the same zone of action, the market has given the movement. The movement structure plan will be as per the previous. So in this scenario, this is my previous action plan, which will act as my current. With the current zone of action, the market has given a break. Body closure is in 100%. If the continuity, I will look for a 150% rejection. यहाँ पे बताओ अब क्या है confusion? स्ट्रीम पे देखने के रिवीजन लगता है, बस अब ट्रेड लेना बाकी रह गया है. ओके, इवाग ಧೈರ್ಯ ಇವಾಗ ಧೈರ್ಯ ಬಂದ ಮೇಲೆ ಟ್ರೇಡ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಸರ್. ಓಕೆ ಸರ್, ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಸರ್. Okay, I like swing setup to hold longer. 90 or 100 point setup अब समझ नहीं आता. Great, Imran. This is what I have to understand. क्यों हंस रहा है वरुण? सर, लेते हो, कहीं भी लाइन लगाते हो. Manipulate हो. क्या बोल रहा है मनन? Sir, which language he has written? Kannada. Sir, I have an idea. First, allow us to build some money with your hints for about 2 to 3 lakhs. Then we'll start trading with you as you teach. There are people who have done it, Venkat, because you're not able to do it because you're behind the tips. जो यहाँ पे मिलेगा नहीं. Sorry to say you that, but that's the reality. So exactly 15 minutes अब बहुत सारे supply and demand लेते हो. Please explain that part. Sir, लेते हो, कहीं भी लाइन लगा देते हो. That's totally fine. लॉन्ग एग्जिट कब करना है? जब एमटीएसएल ब्रेक थ्रू होगा तब एग्जिट करेंगे ना. उससे पहले नो एग्जिट. मैंने एट फर्स्ट डे माय सिचुएशन वाज सेम. कहीं भी लाइन ड्रॉ हो रहा है. सर, आप कन्नड़ा भी बहुत अच्छे पढ़ लेते हो. थैंक यू सो मच. सर, एक बार 12:15 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. explain, sir, that retracement, how you know it will go to 2996, sir. It completed the retracement till 302, sir. Please tell me, sir. I have confusion, sir. Definitely. Before closing the stream, I will definitely help you out. No tips, sir. I am drawing the supply and demand, but not identifying the long and short. Venkat, you are saying me that you are drawing the levels, right? And you are not understanding where to execute. How is that possible? If there is a gap towards the long, the market will fill the long moment. Na? If the gap is towards the short, the market will fill the short moment. सर, इस बार मैंने बिना पढ़े मिड टर्म सेम्स दिया था. यू नो द रीजन. मार्क्स काफी अच्छे आ गए. लवली. हैप्पी फॉर यू, मनन. Sir, I sent the drawing to Harshal. अब 'उफ उफ' खत्म हो गया मेरा. उफ उफ. Where is my उफ उफ? 30 साल का बच्चा अभी भी इंजीनियरिंग पढ़ रहा है. ग्रेट. I like the confidence about that guy. एंड कोई भी मनन का मार्क्स मत पूछना प्लीज. वो बोलेगा 94% वो कुछ भी नहीं है. इन दुबई. नहीं, वो रूम में है, रूम में जाना पड़ेगा लेके आने के लिए. 'सर ये रेल विकास निगम और नीचे जाएगा क्या सर?' 3 साल होल्ड पे हो. अरे सर, स्कूल की बात अलग होती है. कॉलेज इज में 8.7. भाई, इवन दैट इज गुड. ओके. अच्छा जॉब मिल जाएगा. जहाँ पे अर्निंग होगी 30-40 थाउजेंड. चलो, 8.7 है. एनुअल पैकेज तो 20 लाख के ऊपर ही लग जाना है. 3013.77 शॉर्ट, 0.2 लॉट विथ करंट रिजेक्शन. कोडिंग नहीं आती. सिखा दूंगा. क्यों लिया है भाई शॉर्ट? रीजन तो बताओ. विकास निगम और नीचे जाएगा. ओके, विकास निगम इज अ स्टॉक, इज इट? लेट मी चेक दैट फॉर यू. लिक्विड अच्छा है मार्केट. भाई, ब्रेकर पॉइंट काम करना बंद हो गया करके बोला नहीं क्या मैं? मनन, व्हाई आर यू फॉलोइंग द ब्रेकर पॉइंट स्टिल? वो 6 महीने पुराना है. वो सेटअप काम करना बंद हो चुका है. नाउ द एक्यूरेसी ऑफ द ब्रेकर पॉइंट इज जस्ट 75%. रेट द सेटअप विथ 94% नो एक्यूरेसी. अभी तक सेलिंग प्रेशर है इसमें तो सिर्फ. अगर सेलिंग प्रेशर के कंप्लीशन के साथ बाइंग प्रेशर दिखता है, बने रह सकते हो। टिल नाउ द मार्केट इज इन सेलिंग प्रेशर। एंड भरत का एसबीआई था कल, करेक्ट? एसबीआई में बाइंग प्रेशर दिखना शुरू हो चुका है, राइट? ऑन द क्रॉस ओवर ऑफ 800 यू कैन कंटिन्यू द मूवमेंट। नहीं तो फिर से एक ड्रॉप थ्रू दिखेगा, उस ड्रॉप थ्रू में 620 तक मूवमेंट आ सकती है। ओके। क्या क्या हुआ मनन? सर नया वाला सेटअप नहीं क्लियर है। एंट्री नहीं समझ में आ है, तो उसके लिए ब्रेकर पॉइंट एंट्री लोगे। ब्रेकर पॉइंट कंप्लीट होके 3 महीना हो गया ना। स्ट्रॉन्ग एमटीएसएल के साथ बने रहना अभी। अब क्या कर सकते हैं? अब से नहीं करूंगा, ठीक है। इमरान, यू आर देयर इन स्ट्रीम। एवरी 3 मंथ्स में सेटअप चेंज होता है करके समझ में बोला था, करेक्ट? इफ यू रिमेम्बर। कैन यू से मी व्हाट इज द चेंज इन द सेटअप फ्रॉम मार्च एंडिंग वी आर डन? हाँ सर, क्वार्टरली सेटअप्स चेंज करते हैं करके बोले थे। यस। सो हमारा एग्जीक्यूशन पॉइंट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट में क्या चेंज होते हुए दिखा है आपको? Getting fewer S1 setups than S2. Great. One execution. What is the second thing that you have seen the change? मैंने ऑब्जर्व किया है कि एक्सट्रीम वाला ओबी प्ले हो रहा है. ओके. ये ओबी क्या होता है? ऑर्डर ब्लॉक. हम्म. सर्कुलेटिंग सप्लाईज तो हम पहले से ही बात कर रहे हैं. दैट इज नॉट अ चेंज. पहले हमारा सप्लाई या डिमांड अलोकेशन पर्सपेक्टिव वाज एट 100%, correct? Now our supply and demand perspective is at 150% with minimality zone. Understood? I also notice in back testing that there are few S1 setups and more S2 setups. Yes, that's right. With that, now the supply is not of 100% entirely, the supply entirely is of 150%. Oh yeah, minimality, I forgot. We can say minimality setups are an addition to the previous setup. No, because what happens, market में एक structure build होता है, correct? So direction of mathematical numbers will still remain the same, right? In that perspective, यहाँ पे traps होना शुरू होता है. Why? Because each and every minimality zone is a retailer's trap in the previous circumstances, right? Whereas a retailer's trap, the liquidity is created, with the liquidity calibration is created, with the calibration movement of execution is created. So here you guys will not see much of S1 setups, you guys will see much of S2 setups. Okay. So every third month, every quarter closure, there will be an add-on or there will be a deduction. Okay, guys. And this we are not just doing it from this month, we are doing it from 4.5 years. हेलो सर, नेट चला गया था. जब ट्रेड में होते हो तभी नेट जाता है तुम्हारा. I still didn't get recalibration. You will understand it. You can give yourself time. ये नहीं बोल रहा हूँ कि नहीं सिखाऊंगा, सिखाऊंगा, राइट? You become 100%, matlab 95% accurate in understanding supply and demand through MC 2.0. Then we will come down to recalibration, liquidity calibration, liquidity allocation, structure imbalance, circulating supply, 1 is to 10 ratio of risk to reward of retailers. सब आएंगे step by step. ये क्या है, इतना बड़ा लाइन क्यों ड्रॉ किया है? प्रीवियस डिमांड अलोकेट करो, प्रीवियस डिमांड के साथ कंटिन्यूटी में रखो ना. सब करेंगे इमरान. जो सिर्फ एक सेटअप के साथ करोड़पति बना है, अगर पूरा मार्केट समझ गया तो क्या करेगा? हाँ, डबल क्यों करेगा? रिट्रेसमेंट के साथ अलोकेट करेगा ना. फर्स्ट डिमांड सही है, ग्रीन कैंडल के बाद सेकंड डिमांड अलोकेट होगा. हाँ, गॉट इट. हाँ, रिट्रेसमेंट के साथ अलोकेट करना है. स्ट्रीम विल बी देयर फॉर नेक्स्ट 15 मिनट्स. जो भी डाउट्स है पूछ सकते हो. Full trade of execution was taken place in today's entire movement structure plan. Allocation number 1 with S2B1 setup, allocation number 2 with S2B1 setup, allocation number 3 with S2B1 setup towards the long. With that, next plan of action is, which will be in consideration of BTC. BTC में भी एक long हुआ था with the long sustainability and short sustainability. S2B1 setup, उसके साथ यहाँ पे S2B2 setup. जो भी यहाँ पे एग्जीक्यूट किया है, MTSL फॉलो करके बने रहना on every 500 points. Okay. 12:15 to 4:30. 12:15 to 4:30. Execution of plan was very simple. With the previous action plan, S2B1 setup execute हुआ था यहाँ पे जिसम. With that continuity of the plan of action, breakthrough with the breakthrough demand generate होते हुए दिखी थी हमें यहाँ पे. With this demand generation plan of action, market had continued the movement with a retracement. Retracement market कितना लिया था इस point of action में, जितना मेरा previous demand action है उतने का ही movement generate होते हुए दिखी थी. उसके साथ यहाँ पे कंटिन्यूटी में ब्रेक थ्रू. With the continuity of the breakthrough, market had taken a shift break and a closure. Right? Your 12:15 to 4:30 explanation is covered at this point. Hmm? Gold 1 hour is showing volume breakout with selling pressure. कहाँ पे? There is no selling pressure in the market yet. उसका मतलब क्या है? ओके मनन, रीअलोकेट करना, ब्रेक होते ही रीस्ट्रक्चर बेंड अलोकेट करना, जो कि मल्टीप्लाइड बाई 200% अलोकेशन पॉइंट होगा. यस करेक्ट. जो तो तेरा जो फोटो है ना, उस फोटो में दो ग्रीन कैंडल है, उसका विक अलोकेशन के साथ करो. How to identify buying pressures and selling pressures? The buying pressure will be identified from the bottom of the wick, and selling pressure will be identified on the top of the wick. Okay, so this will act as the selling pressure, this will act as buying pressure because body closure is on top of this range. One, here selling pressure down. It doesn't matter. Okay, Venkat? बॉडी कितना बड़ा है उससे फर्क नहीं पड़ना चाहिए. द ओनली थिंग दैट यू विल बी लुकिंग ओवर हियर इज स्टरकम अलोकेशन. स्टरकम अलोकेशन मतलब ये रोज एक एक ऐड होते हुए जा रहा है. ओके ठीक है. स्टरकम अलोकेशन इज टेकन अंडर द प्रिविलेजेस आफ्टर द प्रीवियस. 1 घंटे में जब वॉल्यूम ब्रेकआउट होता है थ्रू द प्रीवियस, इन दिस सिनेरियो कहाँ पे ब्रेक हुआ है? 1 आवर टाइम फ्रेम. In 1 hour time frame, what is the major thing that will be taken under the calculation? At this point of interest, where is the high volume breakout range? The high volume breakout range is over here, right? So with this point of interest, the market is in the bullish direction from the morning. So यहाँ पे क्या करना चाहिए अगर हमें रिवर्सल आना है? तो ये हमारा 7th का मूवमेंट है, राइट? आज के दिन में हाईएस्ट मूवमेंट अलोकेशन इस ग्रीन कैंडल में है. रेड ग्रीन कैंडल का प्रेशर क्या है? सेलिंग साइड. क्या ये कंसिडरेशन में रहेगा? नहीं. क्यों ये कंसिडरेशन में नहीं रहेगा? क्योंकि ये एट द करंट स्टेट 0.5 का एक्शन प्लान है. जब 0.5 का एक्शन प्लान है तो रिटेलर्स को शॉर्ट के तरफ बिठाएगा. जब रिटेलर्स को शॉर्ट के तरफ फिब लेवल रिटेलर्स माइंडसेट के हिसाब से जब ट्रेड एग्जीक्यूट होता है definitely the movement will not go in a go, right? So it will hunt out all the players. So जैसे ही hunt होगा, then the real volume executes. With the real volume executes, the movement will take under the consideration to the previous. In this point of action, जितने भी लोग fib level डाल के बैठे हैं from this point, everyone is getting under the trap of 0.5. So here, what are the major circumstances which will be taken under the consideration? Let a small movement to be generate. With the small movement generation, let the market take the completion. With the completion, let the market continue the movement. Okay, ये होना चाहिए plan of action. Trade fearlessly, be in the directions of the mathematical precisions, follow the risk to reward, trade emotionlessly. जीतने से खुशी मनाना, हारने से दुखी हो जाना is not the quality of the trader. In the scenarios, make sure to carry the poker face till the targets are hit. With that, what are the next steps that you will be following? Make sure sitting calmly and patientfully till the targets. No running candle executions, no FOMO executions. With that, follow the rule. Execute in the setups. Don't blow your capitals. Protect your capital. Wait till the setup isn't built. Trade in the directions of the market, not against to it. This is Nitesh signing off. मिलते हैं कल सुबह तब तक के लिए. Take care. Bye bye. Good night. Shubh Ratri.